After the trade deadline, we've seen players like Luka Doncic, De'Aaron Fox, and Zach LaVine all make their debuts with their new team. But there is one player on one new team that has really caught my eye, and that's the Golden State Warriors with Jimmy Butler. Welcome to Basketball Intuition. I'm your host, Ethan Simon, and today we're going to be talking about Jimmy Butler as a Warrior. I don't want to waste any time. I think there's 6 or 7 different topics of offense or defense or whatever it is that I want to talk about today, and I want to start with what we've already seen offensively. One of my favorite things about this team is that Steph and Jimmy play so differently from each other. So now with this offense, you really don't know what to expect all the time. For Steph, you draw defenders away from the three-point line so he can fully operate. For Jimmy, you give him the ball in the same ways but different intent. Instead of off-ball screens for open threes like they do for Steph, they want switches and open lanes for Jimmy to get to the basket and the free throw line. And Steph and Jimmy are already setting screens for each other. Steph sets a lot of ghost screens, which main job is to cause confusion or chaos, and Jimmy uses that to get to his spots. When Jimmy sets a screen for Steph, you have to stay attached to both, or you have Jimmy going downhill, or you have Steph for an open three. I mean, literally Jimmy Butler's very first basket as a Warrior was Steph Curry coming up to set a screen. He faked the screen, curled back around, and then caught a lob from Buddy Hield for a dunk. Now I kind of want to talk about the post-up opportunities for Jimmy Butler. I might be all over the place because I didn't do my notes as good as I usually do. They're kind of just everywhere, but I'm figuring it out as we go. So the thing about Jimmy Butler posting up as a Warrior is first of all, they do a great job at getting him to his spots. They set an off-ball screen, they set an on-ball screen to get a switch. Jimmy gets down in the paint and does what he wants. Okay, great. The thing about Jimmy doing that as a Miami Heat is the Heat do have spacing, okay? They have great spacing. But the Warriors spacing is a different level of spacing. So let's say in this situation, Jimmy Butler is down in the block, one-on-one. On the perimeter, you have Brandon Podziemski, Quentin Post, Steph Curry, and Buddy Hield, okay? That's ridiculous, by the way. All right, and now in this situation, Jimmy's banging down low. He's getting to a spot. He's going to get to the free throw line, or he's going to get a basket. You know good as well that you have to help, okay? If you bring the double, you're helping off of an elite three-point shooter. And Jimmy's a good enough passer where he's going to make that pass if he wants to. I mean, sometimes still he'll go up with it, of course, because he's Jimmy Butler. He does what he wants. But he can make that pass, and he will make that pass. So it's kind of just like pick your poison at times. Do you want to go help at Jimmy in the post? But if you do that, you're leaving a great three-point shooter open. And even if they do help, you realize that Curry is still out on that perimeter. And he's going to find a way to get open, because that's just what he does. He finds stupid ways to get open. Checking in, if you're still watching a video, you might as well hit that like button. Another thing that I have absolutely loved, they did this more against the Bucks in their second game, is they were having Jimmy play in the middle of the defense. And in my opinion, I don't think there's a more effective way that you can play Jimmy Butler as they did in the middle of the defense. Boom, Jimmy gets the ball in the middle of the defense. Oh, there's Draymond cutting. Easy pass, easy lay. Oh, there's Draymond while I'm in the middle of the defense. Easy dunk. When you play Jimmy there, and like that's a place where you would play Jokic, like guys like that. But I really liked it having Jimmy play there because you have Steph and Draymond, obviously high IQ players. They're going to move around by themselves. They don't need someone to tell them to move around. So when you see somebody like that, Jimmy Butler in the middle of a defense, you know you need to be cutting. You know you need to be doing something because he's got 4 or 5 people around him, okay? And if they bring that double, he needs to be able to kick it out somewhere easy, okay? So you need to be available. And that's something I can see the Warriors doing a lot because they have the personnel to do it. I want to touch on Draymond and Jimmy real quick, even though I kind of already have. They look great together. They're very high IQ players, high energy guys. Dre is looking for Jimmy and is understanding his IQ and his abilities to make the right plays. Like we've already seen a couple plays where Draymond has the ball, Jimmy's posted up, and Draymond throws it up high. He throws it way up there knowing that Jimmy Butler can go up there and get it. He's throwing it only where Jimmy can get it. Jimmy goes up, grabs it, comes down with it, goes back up, easy lay, easy foul. That's just what Jimmy Butler does, and Draymond is setting him up to do that. Let's talk about what Jimmy's been doing when he doesn't have the ball. A lot of the time, he's been sitting in the dunker spot or simply just sitting at the three-point line. I would like to see him move around more when he's on the three-point line instead of kind of just standing in the corner, which he did that a lot. He's a good three-point shooter, but I would rather have Buddy Hield standing in the corner and Jimmy moving around. The next thing that really steps the Warriors up with this Jimmy Butler trade for me is the transition offense. In today's NBA, you need quickness and athleticism to be good in transition. Jimmy isn't his prime self, but he still has enough of it. What happens with the Warriors is you get a steal on the perimeter and you got Buddy Hield running next to you. Buddy Hield's not like slow as mess. He's not like Jokic slow, but he's not the fastest guy. So whenever you replace that with a guy like Jimmy Butler, those opportunities go from, if you're not fast enough, here, what happens on transition is if you don't get there fast enough, it's a 2-on-2. If you do get there fast enough before both defenders can get back, you get a 1-on-2. Being quick is the deciding factor whether you get 1-on-2s or 2-on-2s. And having a guy like Jimmy Butler who's going to run back in transition as fast as he can is very helpful. When it comes to transition, I'm about to read off a couple stats, but this is all just in transition. Points per possession, they're 24th. Off steals, they're 16th. That's not bad. Off live rebounds in transition, they are 29th, second to last. That's one of the main things that the Warriors really needed to step up, and Jimmy should be able to help that out. Another thing that Jimmy's going to help out is getting to that free throw line. The Warriors don't get to the free throw line that much. They stay on the perimeter most of the time, but having a guy like Jimmy Butler, who in his first 2 games has double-digit free throws in both of his games, is going to help a lot. All those drawn fouls and all those free throws, it comes from Jimmy getting in the post. That's what Jimmy Butler does. He gets in that post and he's gonna punish you, and if you don't foul him, it's a bucket. Shout out to Quentin Post real quick. He's shooting it. I mean, he is stroking that ball. And another thing I realized about him that I didn't pick up at first is he's like really vocal on the offensive and defensive side. So shout out to Quentin Post, because he's kind of the center that the Warriors were looking for this whole time. Like when they went and got DeMarcus Cousins those years back on that minimum contract, that's because they needed a center that was a big body that could stretch the floor. That's exactly what Quentin Post does. While I'm on the topic, I might as well just say, for the Warriors to have postseason success, I'm looking at 3 players, okay? 1, obviously Jimmy Butler. 2, obviously Steph Curry. And that third one is Quentin Post. In a Western Conference where teams have Şengün and Jabari Smith, and then you got Anthony Davis and Nikola Jokic, you need a big that can somewhat keep up. It doesn't have to be an all-star level big man, but you at least need a big man that can keep up. And without Quentin Post, the Warriors don't have that. But if you can get the prime version of Quentin Post through this season, you should be all right, honestly. I'm looking at all the things that I said I wanted to talk about. Post scoring, we talked about that. Defense. I don't know what to say about the defense. Jimmy has been very focused defensively, and I feel like that's enough to say. I do think he's played very well defensively. Another thing, I kind of already touched this. When he's in the middle of the defense, he's making that good pass. He's making the right pass. That's just what Jimmy Butler does. Okay, we got like 2 more things. I already talked about transition. Yep, we're good on that. This doesn't really make sense when I say it, but I wrote it down because I don't really know how else to explain it. Championship playmaking and championship IQ. How this team scores, it's not like how I watch my Bucks score a lot of the time. It's not just iso ball, oh nice shot. It's a lot of stuff that you can do over and over again with the Warriors. You can run this pin down for Steph. You can run this pin down for Jimmy Butler. You can do these things over and over again. The Warriors have been running the same off-ball screens for Curry for 10 years and they still work. So having 3 genius minds on the basketball court, Draymond, Steph, and Jimmy, I don't look at the team and I'm not like, oh, I don't see them being able to compete with the other dogs in the Western Conference because they just don't. The offense just isn't what it needs to be. But this Warriors team, it is what it needs to be. They will be able to keep up with you in the postseason. The only thing I'm worried about is that post defense. And if Quentin Post can really take on that assignment of really just locking down the opposing team center as best as he can, then I'm cool. And I think the Warriors can legitimately compete for a championship. Very last thing I want to talk about is Jimmy and Steph together as a duo. Like I mentioned earlier, they both do such different things that it helps each other so much. If Jimmy's down banging in the post and he's got 15 in the quarter, you're sending help. And guess what? That leaves Buddy Hield open. That leaves Steph Curry open. Just stuff like that. And whenever you have Curry on the perimeter and he's lighting it up, you want to blitz him off of screens. But guess what? If Jimmy Butler is setting that screen, you don't want to blitz off of Jimmy Butler to go at Curry, because then Jimmy Butler's just wide open. And now someone has to rotate over. and they are both good enough players to where they can make good passes. So that's just a recipe for success in the Warriors' eyes. Like I kind of already mentioned, I really love what Jimmy and Dre have done together. I feel like they've looked really great as a duo as well. We've seen them play extended minutes together with Curry on the bench, and I thought that they looked very good. This is where I'm gonna wrap it up. I think so. This isn't like a regular episode. It's like a regular episode, but it just kind of feels weird right now. Like I'm filming right now, everything kind of feels a little weird. It might be because it's kind of early. It's not early, but like I got up not too long ago, so like I'm a little foggy, talking a little slow, but I'm here. So that's all I got for today's episode. If there's anything y'all want to hear me talk about, if y'all want me to talk about the Spurs and De'Aaron Fox or the Kings, Zach LaVine, or Luka and the Lakers, anything like that, just comment down below, let me know, and I promise you I will do it. So yeah, thank you for making it to the end of the video. I really do appreciate it, and I'm going to see you on the next video, man. Peace out.